Avoid cinnamon. If you have these health issues, Americans love to sprinkle cinnamon into coffee, oatmeal, or baked goods, believing it is harmless or even healthy. But what if this common spice could silently damage your liver, thin your blood to dangerous levels, or trigger allergic reactions that seem minor at first but grow into something far more serious? Studies reveal that even just 1 teaspoon of the most common cinnamon sold in U.S. grocery stores can exceed the safe daily limit for compounds known to harm the body. If you think cinnamon is always safe, think again. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which health conditions make cinnamon dangerous, how it interacts with common medications, and why even small daily amounts can quietly build into serious problems. The risks are real, and ignoring them could mean putting your health at risk without even realizing it. Let's start with liver issues. Cinnamon feels safe. It is warm, sweet, and sprinkled over everything from coffee to cereal. Many people believe it is one of the healthiest spices, but inside that powder is something rarely talked about, a natural compound called coumarin. Most cinnamon sold in grocery stores across the United States is the cassia type, and cassia carries high amounts of coumarin. At first glance, it does not sound like a problem. However, studies reveal that just 1 teaspoon of cassia cinnamon a day can exceed the safe daily intake for coumarin. That means even small, everyday sprinkles can quietly cross into dangerous territory. The liver is where this becomes serious. Think of the liver as the body's main filter. Every sip of alcohol, every pill swallowed, every bit of food eaten must pass through it. The liver is strong, but it is not invincible. When coumarin enters the system in high amounts, it places toxic stress on this vital organ. Over time, liver enzymes begin to rise. On the outside, nothing may feel different, but inside, the liver is working harder and harder until the strain becomes too much. The numbers are sobering. Up to 5% of Americans already live with some form of liver disease, and most have no idea. The signs often remain hidden until real damage has already occurred. For those with fatty liver disease, which affects 1 in 4 adults in the United States, the risk is even greater. Add in regular alcohol use or common medications like statins for cholesterol or acetaminophen for pain, and the load on the liver multiplies. In that situation, daily cassia cinnamon is not a harmless seasoning. It is another weight dragging the liver closer to failure. The warning signs appear slowly. Initially, it may be fatigue, characterized by a persistent sense of low energy. For others, it may cause nausea, loss of appetite, or discomfort in the upper abdomen. In more severe cases, jaundice develops, causing the skin and eyes to turn a yellowish hue. But the most frightening truth is that many people feel nothing at all until the damage is severe. The liver suffers in silence, and by the time it speaks, the harm is often hard to undo. Not all cinnamon is equal. There is a type called Ceylon cinnamon, also known as true cinnamon. Unlike cassia, Ceylon has far lower levels of coumarin. For those who enjoy cinnamon's flavor, Ceylon is a safer option. Yet most store shelves in America are filled with cassia because it is cheaper and more widely available. Without reading the fine print, most people never realize what they are buying. The takeaway is clear. If you have liver problems or other health issues, you must avoid cinnamon, especially the cassia variety. That sprinkle meant to add flavor could be pushing the body closer to exhaustion. The risk often hides in plain sight, and the people most vulnerable are often unaware until it is too late. But the liver is not the only concern. Coumarin does more than stress this organ. It also affects the blood, making it harder to clot and creating dangerous risks for people with heart problems. Next, let us uncover how cinnamon interacts with blood thinners and why it can turn into a life-threatening issue for those relying on these medications. Before we move on, I'd love to know where you're watching from. If you're working to naturally ease health problems, be sure to subscribe to Knowhow and turn on the notification bell. And if this content helps you, please type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. I want to keep improving for you. Beyond stressing the liver, coumarin in cassia cinnamon has a strong effect on blood clotting. This is because coumarin naturally thins the blood, and its effect intensifies with increased consumption. For a healthy person, that might not seem like a concern, but for millions of people who already rely on blood-thinning medications, Even small amounts of cinnamon can push the body into dangerous territory. The numbers reveal just how many people are at risk. Nearly 8 million Americans take blood-thinning medications every single day. These drugs are prescribed to prevent clots that could lead to a stroke or a heart attack. Conditions like atrial fibrillation and other heart diseases make blood thinners a life-saving tool. Yet when cinnamon is added on top of these medications, the balance can tip too far. Blood that is supposed to flow smoothly can become too thin, leading to bleeding that the body cannot easily stop. Blood clotting is a delicate process, almost like an orchestra with every instrument playing its part. Medications such as warfarin or aspirin carefully slow this process so clots do not form where they should not. But when coumarin from cinnamon enters the mix, it enhances the effect of these drugs. Instead of controlled thinning, the blood can become dangerously unstable. Even as little as 1 to 2 grams of cassia cinnamon daily can intensify this risk. That is only about half a teaspoon, a small amount that many people add without thinking. The warning signs may appear in subtle ways at first. A simple cut that seems to bleed longer than usual, bruises that appear without any memory of bumping into something, frequent nosebleeds that seem out of place. In more serious cases, black stools signal internal bleeding in the stomach or intestines. This complication can become life-threatening if left unattended. These are not rare side effects. They are the body's alarm bells, warning that blood has become too thin to protect itself. Now imagine someone with atrial fibrillation who is already taking warfarin to prevent stroke. The medication is carefully measured and adjusted by doctors to maintain a safe level of blood thinning. But if that person sprinkles cinnamon in coffee every morning, the balance changes without their doctor even knowing. What should have been protection against clots can suddenly turn into a risk of uncontrolled bleeding. The same is true for those using aspirin, clopidogrel, or other common anticoagulants. Cinnamon sneaks in quietly, but the consequences can be severe. This is why doctors caution against combining natural remedies with prescription medications without consulting a medical professional. The word natural does not always mean safe, especially when the body's already walking a tightrope between clotting and bleeding. For people living with heart disease, the wrong choice in the kitchen can undo the protection that medicine provides. If you take prescription blood thinners, cinnamon can silently double your risk of bleeding complications. What feels like a small sprinkle may carry a hidden danger, especially when your heart depends on medication to stay safe. And while blood health is one major concern, cinnamon can also stir trouble in another system that many people do not expect. Next, let us explore how cinnamon consumption and exposure can subtly affect blood sugar levels. Cinnamon often carries a health halo. It is marketed as a natural solution for balancing blood sugar, especially for people living with diabetes. Many articles praise it as a spice that lowers fasting glucose, and studies do suggest it can drop levels by about 10 to 15% in some people. But here is where the story becomes more complicated. The effects of cinnamon are not consistent, and what looks like a natural remedy can quickly turn into a hidden danger when mixed with diabetes medication. If you're finding this helpful so far, please take a second to like this video. It may seem small, but it tells YouTube that this message matters and helps Knowhow reach more people who truly need it. If you believe others deserve this knowledge too, tap that thumbs up now. Diabetes is already a heavy burden. Over 37 million Americans live with the condition, and another 96 million are pre-diabetic. That means almost half the country is touched by blood sugar problems. For those already taking medications like insulin, metformin, or sulfonylureas, the balance is fragile. These drugs are powerful, designed to push glucose down into a safe range. When cinnamon enters the picture, the lowering effect can stack on top of the medication. Instead of steady control, blood sugar levels may plummet too low. The risk is hypoglycemia, a condition where glucose drops below what the brain and body need. Initially, the signs may seem mild: dizziness upon standing, sudden weakness, or blurred vision. However, if blood sugar levels continue to drop, the danger escalates. Confusion sets in. The person may faint, struggle to speak, or even have seizures. In the worst cases, severe hypoglycemia becomes life-threatening. All of this can happen quietly, triggered by what seemed like a harmless sprinkle of spice. The risk grows even higher when daily routines are not perfect. Missing a meal, taking medication later than usual, or exercising harder than expected can all lower blood glucose levels. Add cinnamon to that mix, and the fall becomes sharper and faster. Many people consider cinnamon to be a natural insulin. Still, the truth is, it cannot be controlled in the same way as a prescription dose can. One day it may have a strong effect, the next day very little, making it unpredictable and risky. For someone already managing diabetes, this unpredictability can bring more stress than relief. It creates a silent tug-of-war between natural compounds and prescription medicine, and the body becomes the battleground. People who are told that cinnamon can help may not realize it can also cause harm. They may double up on cinnamon in the hope of better results, not knowing they are pulling themselves closer to dangerous lows. The practical advice is simple but important. Cinnamon is not a free pass for diabetes management. It cannot replace careful dosing of insulin or other medications, and it should not be used as an extra boost without medical guidance. If the body is already under strict control through medicine, cinnamon can tip that balance dangerously. What appears to be support may actually create confusion, fainting, or something even worse. The next time cinnamon is marketed as a natural remedy for blood sugar, remember the hidden truth. It can lower glucose levels, but when combined with medication, the effect may become too pronounced for the body to handle safely. And while this risk affects blood sugar inside the body, cinnamon can also cause surprising problems on the surface, especially in the mouth. From burning sensations to painful sores, the next hidden danger lies in allergic reactions and oral health issues that many people never see coming. Cinnamon may appear to be nothing more than a sweet spice, but for some people it can quickly become a source of pain and discomfort. Inside this spice is a compound called cinnamaldehyde. It gives cinnamon its strong flavor and scent, but it is also the very ingredient that can trigger allergic reactions in sensitive individuals. What starts as a pleasant taste can become a burning sensation that lingers long after the cinnamon is gone. The reactions often begin in the mouth. Some people notice ulcers on the inside of their cheeks or tongue after chewing cinnamon gum or eating foods that are spiced with it. Others describe a sharp burning that makes it painful to swallow or even speak. In more severe cases, the tongue may swell, creating real fear about whether the throat will close. These are not minor irritations, they are allergic responses, and the body is sounding the alarm. The numbers reveal just how widespread this issue is. Up to 3% of Americans report spice allergies, and cinnamon consistently ranks among the top triggers. For many, the symptoms go beyond the mouth. The skin can become irritated when cinnamon touches it directly. Rashes may appear, red and itchy, especially in people with sensitive skin. For those with asthma or reactive airways, even breathing in powdered cinnamon can cause coughing fits, throat irritation, or tightness in the chest. The signs may feel confusing at first. Who expects toothpaste or chewing gum to cause burning gums or sore spots inside the mouth? Yet the practical truth is simple. If gums or mouth burn after cinnamon products, it is not harmless. It is the body reacting to cinnamaldehyde as if it were a threat. Ignoring these reactions only increases discomfort and risk over time. What makes this more concerning is that many people brush off the symptoms as a fluke. They keep using the same toothpaste or chewing the same gum, not realizing they are repeatedly exposing themselves to an allergen. Over time, the reactions can grow worse and last longer, turning a simple choice into a daily source of pain. Other health issues. Not everyone responds to cinnamon in the same way, and for some groups, the risks are much higher than most people realize. Pregnancy is one example. In high amounts, cinnamon can trigger uterine contractions, raising the danger of preterm labor. For women already facing pregnancy complications, even a small spark can tip the balance, and cinnamon becomes one of those hidden sparks. Research shows that 1 in 10 pregnancies experience complications where certain foods or spices make matters worse, and cinnamon quietly sits on that list. Kidney health is another concern. Around 15% of adults in the United States live with chronic kidney disease, many without any visible warning signs. Their kidneys already strain to filter waste, and coumarin from cinnamon only adds more pressure. Children also stand at risk. Because their bodies are smaller, they cannot break down coumarin as efficiently. Continued exposure over time can quietly damage the liver or kidneys during critical years of growth. Those with low blood pressure face yet another hidden danger. Cinnamon can strengthen the effects of medication, causing dizziness or sudden fainting. When viewed together, these risks remind us that cinnamon is not the harmless spice many believe it to be. If this video was helpful, please don't leave without subscribing to Knowhow. And if you feel that I truly understood your struggle and offered a solution that matters, please type the word relief in the comments. I'd love to know if this helped you.